for Social Watch. My mic is off and your voice is on. We want to find out some of the things you have to say about today's conversation. Do you think the government's latest appointment are a reflection of their commitment to the Kenyan youth? You can still talk to us. Hashtag at METROPOL DEBRIEF at Ondiro Ganga. And you can reach to us via any of our social media platforms. In the meantime, we want to sample some of the views that you've sent us back. And where do we start today? We posed the question to you, or rather a poll on Instagram. And we asked, do you think government appointments reflect their commitment to the youth? So, Mbuki rather, 93% say no, and only 7% said yes. So let's sample what some of the people had to say. Sorry. Jaras Masinda says, no way. Masters of doublespeak. Utterances favor the youth, but action favor their old political allies. Your thoughts?
I agree, actually. It's true, because it's doublespeak. You'll hear the president saying youth unemployment is the biggest issue, but he doesn't invest in it. He doesn't show even just, the little bit of it. Yeah, so I think that's very true. Yeah.
Let's take a look at another comment right here from Atmakavali says, no. However, it's not Kenyans who should worry, but the government. If you doubt me, check out Chile, Lebanon, and even Hong Kong. He's saying young people might just get out in the streets out of frustration. And this time around, just like the countries is mentioned, these people are not out in the streets for any political leader. They're out in the streets protesting for themselves and their future. Do you think if issues surrounding the youth are not addressed, then the Kenyan youth will take to the streets to vent out their frustrations?
The thing is, young people will organize themselves around jobs, around youth unemployment, and there will be a shift, there will be a revolution. All these old people, all these cartel, all these, families controlling this country will be destroyed. And the government needs to be worried about that. There will be a strong revolution if they don't address youth unemployment in Kenya.
Okay, let's take a look at another reaction. At Nyarogamba says, yes, at least I know several young people that have benefited from government projects, though they're just odd jobs.
That's the thing. How do government actually tell us that they have? Do you know how government, for example, does their reporting at the end of the year?
Tell us.
The Ministry of Environment, for example, said we engaged 300 people to sort of slash. So that's how they capture jobs. And that's why you see the KNBS, for example, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in terms of youth unemployment, is at 7%, while another research will be at 39% or 40%, because they captured the odd jobs, which were done maybe 3 days, 4 days. But those are not jobs. They're actually survival. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah.
They're not jobs, basically. So we need to be very clear. Also, the government needs to stop lying to us. They need to invest in real jobs.
Okay, let's take a look at some more comments on WhatsApp. At Samuel Sitoya says, no, Kenyan youth are qualified. In fact, overqualified. So many people have master's degrees in a bid to secure jobs in Kenya, lakini wapi. And this is something we were talking about previously. Many young people, you do your undergrad, you get out of the market, you're like, I'm not very attractive to the market, so let me try and maybe do a master's degree and see. So we are not short of education. Then where is the discord?
The discord is when we get into leadership, we want quick wins. We don't want to invest in the real issue. And that's why when young people have all these skills, all these masters, they get out here, they realize, wait, things are actually different. Maybe I need to try something else.
Yes.
Because our leaders are lazy. If we had actually people who are working in their offices, we would not have young people start wondering, what next for me? What do I need to do so that I can fit in? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a look at another comment. At Lucky Wanjala says, yes, if and only if you know them or are a part of them. They have children, right? Are their children unemployed? There you have your answer.
Their children are not unemployed. They have business to manage. They have taken away all our wealth, invested in another country, so their kids are actually managing business abroad. So that is where, because now, anyway, their kids are living large outside the country. So why should they invest in this country? And that's why we need to really rethink about building a conscious group of young Kenyans, or rather Kenyans generally. They know these are the issues. We need to organize ourselves around issues, and therefore we need to look at a leader who matches you know, how to address our issues. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at another. At Kibet Mark says, no, na iwe funzo. Next time they come with flowery manifesto, we will just know it's big talk and zero delivery.
I like that, because I mean, like, we are looking at 2013, they had a manifesto, 2017, they will have it in 2022. And they know that where the gaps are. They know we know the issues, but because we want to hear they know our issues, we always vote for them. But they know anyway, we need to keep the problem alive. So that even while we are coming up with a manifesto, we really need to grab their hearts. We need to win their hearts. So, yeah.
Yeah. So very briefly, we shall be crossing over as we almost wind up the show. We'll show you a picture of the manifesto, of the 2017 manifesto of Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, Ikuru Aukot, of what they were promising to give Kenyans. However, right about now, we want to cross over to the streets and listen to what you had to say before we come back and look at Twitter. So we went out in the streets of Nairobi and we spoke to young Kenyans and we asked them, what do they make out of this employment of very old people into government positions? And these are positions that really matter to them, because if you're talking about employment and a majority of the youth are unemployed, then this is an issue that is very critical and close to their heart. This is what Kenyans had to say. This is Street Talk. Street Talk for you, Kenyans expressing their views, and young Kenyans particularly. Mbuki, does this express as a form of hopelessness amongst the youth? Because you're asking them, how do you think you can rally yourselves and get yourselves together and have one voice so that you can speak in one accord and the government can act? But young people are saying, look, we're done banking on the government. Just forget you went to school, set up your small hustle and survive.
I think we need to understand the purposes of a government. The government is supposed to create an enabling environment, and we need to organize ourselves to be able to create that government, because the current government is clearly not working for us. So what's the other option? It's organize ourselves to create that government, because we cannot have 2 million SMEs closing since 2013 when Uhuru Kenyatta came into power till now. In fact, between March and August this year, 300 188 companies have dissolved.
Yes.
So we continue to see some of the environment is not conducive. If you're saying you're going to go form your own business, well, you're not in control of the government. You don't know what the government is doing.
But the government is equally not helping you get a job.
So we need to form the government.
Survive.
We need to form the government. Because without that government that creates that enabling environment, you will not survive.
Mbuki, a new government comes into office in 2022. Mm-hmm. But until 2022, young Kenyans have to make way. They have to survive.
And that's why we need to make use of our constitution. And that's why we are not sleeping. We are like, Mary Wambui's appointment is not a reflection of what we formed the National Employment Authority.
So that's one step at a time. We are there's this joke that goes, we are fixing this country. And I think that's the reality that you're trying to bring on the ground. We are fixing this country one mistake at a time.
Yes, we have to fix it. Every generation has its own struggle. We were struggling for independence. We were struggling for, constitutional rights. Now we need to struggle for
the rightful place of the Kenyan youth.
Exactly.
Let's take a look at Twitter very quickly as we almost come to a close of the show. At Mavua says, clearly Uhuru Kenyatta cares less for this country or the unemployment status of its young citizens. His is a presidency of looting, incompetence, corruption, ineptness, and his alleged humbleness, which is an insult to Kenyans of humble background. Very briefly.
It's true. The people from poor backgrounds, humble backgrounds, they do not have a place unless you have access. Even those young people who are in government, for example, who have been in BBI, all these platforms, they sort of have access to power. Mm-hmm. So they actually do not need some of those positions because they already have the plenty of it. So the people in the humble background do not have a place in this country. Okay, let's go through some quick tweets as we wait for a video comment. At Victor Mochere says, Dear Uhuru Kenyatta, these are the youths you have employed so far. Mudi Awori, Francis Mudhaura goes on to list the whole list of the old people that the president has put in power. Let's take a look at another tweet very briefly. At Donald B. Kipkorir, flamboyant lawyer, says, Mary Wambui was working at KANU office before I began school. That she is old, didn't go to school, and isn't known for any business employing people are self-evident truths. To make her chair of the National Employment Authority in digital age, Jubilee must be trying some dark humor. I want to comment on that. Mm-hmm. As we go to the next tweet. MP, who is Mary Wambui, was a member of parliament between 2013 to 2017. Out of the 175 appearances she made in parliament, there was no initiative around employment generally in Kenya. Mm-hmm. So why would you put her in that position? Because she's not qualified in terms of education. Mm-hmm. While she was a member of parliament, she did not show interest around that sector. So what criteria was did the president or the executive use to be able to put her in that position? Okay, now let's cross over to a video comment as we prepare to come to a close. After the video comment, Mbuki will come and give her closing remarks in 30 seconds. But right about now, let's hear what you had to say on the video segment, because we asked you, send us your video comments on your thoughts about the topic today, and this is what you had to say. Okay, those are some of the three ladies that send us their video comments. There you have it. And you equally can be a part of the show by sending us your video comments. Mbuki, it has been great having you on the show. We are grateful that you've been able to come and share your insights with us. Mm-hmm. And it's one would argue that it's in the interest of the youth that you filed a petition in court just to try and address one of the grievances against the youth and something that the youth have been raising. Mm-hmm. However, we know that this is just the beginning. As you've said earlier on,
every generation has its own battle and its own war to fight. And this might be our baton, and we have to run, and we have to run diligently. Where do we go from here in ensuring that there's inclusivity of the youth in government, the youth actively taking their place, and the government meeting us in the middle? 30 seconds, camera 2.
First of all, I would like to say that we have a petition in court, and the hearing is on 11th of November. We need to sort of organize ourselves. We need to show that this is a public interest matter, such that when the order is out, so that when the order is out, we set precedents of how board appointments would look like in this country. From there, we continue organizing ourselves, building conscious building around ourselves, organizing ourselves so that we can be able to penetrate in these government positions. Also, we need to focus, map. Youth summit organizations also need to organize ourselves. We need to engage young people also very meaningfully so that we can be able to map some of these government appointments. We have to map all these opportunities that we need to tap into so that even while the opportunities are out there, we are able to make use of them and benefit from them.
Mbuki, thank you very much. Very insightful conversation. And the good thing is it doesn't stop here. It continues on social media. There's digital activism. And also we'll attach your social media handle so that people can reach you and can know how to be a part of this course, right?
Yes,
Thank
sure.
you very much for making time. We have come to a close of this show. As I always say, every good thing that has a beginning must have an end. But before I finish, as usual, every day, or every Thursday rather, we must tell each other the bitter truth. And tonight, the bitter truth is this. In 2013, they came to us, they sang to us, we danced with them, we elected them into office. In 2017, they came back, and this time around, they came back with a very beautiful manifesto that said at least 30%, here it is, at least 30% of government appointments were going to be with the youth. And it wasn't just President Uhuru Kenyatta, it was Raila Odinga, it was Ekuru Aukot. All of them know that unemployment is a pain point. However, none of them is willing to address the pain point. My name is Ndiro Ganga, a graduate of Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology with a bachelor's in print and broadcast media. Does President Uhuru Kenyatta think that he can give me a job? Well, I'm not 90, I'm not old enough. Bitter truth. Tano Terra. Have a good evening.